Hi, how are you? I'm Anthony. I work for BuzzFeed News in New York City. I do not make listicles or cat videos, but we appreciate that you come and view them because that pays my bills. I want to start very broadly, right? We're here to talk about fake news, but we're not going to talk about a couple of things today. You can find me in the hallway after, we can talk. We're not going to talk about Donald Trump. We're not going to talk about Russia. We're not going to talk about that dang BuzzFeed dossier. What we are going to talk about is the fact that I am in the fight of my life. I have been a journalist for 15 years. And what I and my colleagues are facing at the moment is a new phenomenon that I hope you will help us win. Because the guy you see up here right now is real news. I've dedicated my life to this. I care about it. I've gone to bed with a pit in my stomach every day for the last 15 years, worried that I got everything right. And what you're seeing is news that's not right. News that's particularly meant to disinform you. It's being used as a weapon to change your minds. I don't care if you're a liberal, I don't care if you're a conservative, I don't care if you're down the middle. What I do care about is our democracy, and I care about an informed republic. So let's sort of take a step back and understand what real news is and what fake news is. Fake news used to exist in the supermarket checkout line. You'd see a tabloid where Hillary Clinton gave birth to an alien baby, or Elvis Presley was spotted at a coffee shop in Peoria, Illinois. To the best of my knowledge, neither of those things are true. What you're seeing now are websites blaring that Melania Trump is a high-end escort, or that Hillary Clinton ran a pedophile ring at a Washington, D.C. pizza parlor. Neither of those things are true. The difference is that the news is now packaged to look like mine. It is packaged to look like real news. And secondly, it's being used as a weapon to disinform you. It's being used as a way to get you to move to one side or the other. Liberals, I know that you're out here and you're probably thinking that, oh, this is just a conservative matter. Y'all are just as guilty too. Breitbart is just as bad as Raw Story. Milo is just as bad as Occupy Dems. So I'm sorry to inform you that, but it is. So I want to sort of walk through why it perhaps has become so prevalent right now. There are two things that have happened in the past 10 to 20 years. Number one, Americans have stopped trusting their institutions, perhaps rightfully so. We no longer trust our government. We no longer trust our churches, our houses of worship, our media. Some of that's our fault. Some of that's the government's fault. Some of that's the church's fault. But when we did that, when we stopped having trust in objective, verifiable truths, we opened the floodgates for the manipulators. We've all sort of gone to our corners, right? We're over here and all we want to do is watch Fox News, and we're over here and all we care about is Rachel Maddow. And so we have this whole suite of media outlets that are catering to your interests, that are only sort of pushing you toward their objective goal, their ends. And in the meantime, while this was happening, while there's this great partisan divide between the left and the right, Americans also stopped paying for their news. That according to the Neiman Lab, there are half as many American reporters at daily newspapers as there were in 1990. I have sat in newsrooms and very somberly watched as one person after another has been walked into the HR building and come out with tears in their eyes. First goes the obit writer, second goes City Hall, then goes the cops reporter, and then goes a guy in sports, and then goes the copy desk, and then the newsroom is bereft of anyone there. And so those that are left are doing more than ever. So I can't do enterprise stories anymore. I can't do deep dive investigations anymore. This becomes a problem, right? And in that void again comes Breitbart and Raw Story and Milo and Occupy Dems. So we understand sort of maybe what it is. We understand perhaps why it's so prevalent. And now maybe we can talk a little bit about why it's so dangerous. This should be obvious, but perhaps it's not. An informed republic is a strong republic. Facts matter. I am here on the campus of Florida State University where it is your goal to do research, to find new truths, to do peer-reviewed studies. You guys are here to do truth. We're in the same boat. I'm doing the same thing as y'all, right? So what happens is, and it's not a recent phenomenon, but we're disinformed. We don't know what we're voting for. We don't know who we're voting for. We don't know how to stop this. We don't know what to believe. And I don't blame you. In fact, I blame us. I blame me. It's my fault. Actually, it's not my fault, it's my publisher's fault, but that's another different story. So you've gone and made decisions and you don't have a full sort of bouquet of facts behind you, right? And so I want to hopefully leave you with an idea of how to combat this. And we'll start very simply by saying you should all take out your Facebook, your phones right now, and check out your Facebook likes, and you should start scrubbing things. You should get them out of your life. You should take a look at what you like, because that's what the algorithms are putting in front of your face, right? If you like Milo, or if you like, I'm picking on Occupy Dems, and I'm picking on them, but there are very many of them. If you like that, Facebook is learning to feed you more of that, right? If you like hamburgers, you're going to get hamburgers all the time. If you like cheese fries, you're going to get cheese fries all the time. You like fake news about pedophile rings at Comet Pizza in Washington, D.C., which is, by the way, completely not true, you're going to get more of that. So that's the very first step that you can take. You can sort of understand what's entering your world and learn how to excise it. I hope that you'll all sort of leave here and go and do that. The second thing you can do, and this is shameless self-promotion, is you could start paying for your news again. That'd be an awesome thing to do because news isn't free. I have a daughter here in the room, actually, and she's in college. And college, in case you guys haven't worried, it's not free. So somebody's got to send them there. And I get this is a little bit shameless, but I want to sort of impart on you one thing, that real journalists are your neighbors. We coach your little league teams. We bring home scanners. We stay up late. We miss parent-teacher conferences because we're at a fire or we're at a city hall meeting. I hope that you'll leave here and understand that as much as you may hate the liberal media, or you may hate the conservative media, or you may hate what's the word for it? The lamestream media. Look, I'm not lame, but that's neither here nor there. We're real human beings digging for truths day after day. And no matter what you think of BuzzFeed, no matter who you voted for, we're folks who care about this. We've dedicated our entire lives to it. I started on the loading docks of the Panama City News Herald. That was my first job after I left Florida State. Not a sprawling megalopolis. It's a small town and a small paper, but I learned how to do this. I learned what mattered. And I want to say to you, the difference fundamentally between what you're seeing on some of these fake sites and what we do is that mistakes happen. I make mistakes all the time. This is a terrible story, I'm going to admit it, but whatever. I killed a guy in print. He was a trapeze artist. He had fallen tragically off of the trapeze. I was in Sarasota, Florida. It was a huge circus town. It was a big news event. Well, I called the hospital, do my due diligence. The dude's not dead. His sister told me he was dead. The doctor said he was dead. What they failed to tell me was that, he was just actually on life support. So I reported in the paper the next day that this guy had died. His family, when they read it on the front page, wasn't very happy. Eventually he'll die. That's what I told my editor anyway, even if it's 40 years from now. It didn't really go over well. But here's the fundamental difference, right? Here's what Breitbart doesn't do. Here's what Occupy Dems doesn't do. They don't run a correction. They don't own it. I did. So my editors, my newspaper, they care about getting it right. Accountability is our trade craft. If you don't believe me, what have I got left, right? So one final thing that'll differentiate for you guys how to identify fake news and real news. You can take some steps beyond paying for your news and beyond figuring out how Facebook is responding to this. And we should say that Facebook and Google have taken active measures and they should be applauded for sort of ferreting some of this stuff out, right? They've not fully gone all the way, but they do deserve praise for what they've done so far. There's some things you can do when you read a news story. You can look at it and tell me if it has a byline, right? Can you identify the author? Because if you can, that's a usually pretty good sign that somebody cares enough to put their name on it. Does the site have editors? Does it employ fact checkers? Are the quotes actually directly taken from an individual? Did I talk to you and get your name and quote you? If I did, you can be a pretty good bet that like, I'm a decent journalist and I know what I'm doing, unless they took it from somewhere else, right? If they took another quote and they repackaged it and put it in a different context, what do you do with that, right? How do you know that came where it's from? Another step you can do is you can sort of trust your gut. If it seems fake, it probably is. Like Elvis is probably dead, hate to break it to you. Hillary Clinton did not, as far as I know, have an alien baby. Melania Trump is not a high-end escort. I mean, these are things that you should be able to look at and understand whether or not they're true. And then finally, I have a very interesting way for you guys to try to tell the difference. So these are two websites. Which one? Raise your hand if you think the one. Oh, crime in Italy! I gave you the answer. Clearly, the Seattle Tribune is the fake one, and the Seattle Times is the real one. But they are very difficult, down to the gutters, the white space on the sides of the page, to the clear Seattle at the top. Very different for you to know. So you open up your Facebook, you're super busy, you're doing your homework, you're taking care of your kids, you're running to plays. How are you supposed to know really quickly which one is real and which one is not? So it's difficult. The Seattle Tribune actually is fake, and there is some fine print on the page that suggests that it is an entertainment site, and the Seattle Times is one of the finest American newspapers in all the land. It's the winner of multiple Pulitzer Prizes and does amazing, incredible reporting, and like so many other newspapers, has been through round after round of budget cuts. Means people like me are out of jobs. So I'm so grateful for this chance because, like I said earlier, this is the fight of my life. I don't know if we're going to win it. I can tell you I'm going to fight like hell for it. I'm hoping that you will help. And I don't care if you agree with me. I don't care if you are politically aligned with me or with your neighbor. Just leave here understanding that there are a group of journalists in America that are digging for objective truths, that care about this, that go to sleep, like I said, every night with a pit in their stomach, hoping to God that we called every source, that we checked every fact, that I spelled every name right, because there's nothing wrong, nothing worse rather than misspelling the name of a high school volleyball player. I'm telling you, you will get a phone call from grandma the next day saying, you misspelled Katie, K-A-T-Y, instead of K-A-T-I-E, which is horrible because grandma wants to cut that thing out and put it in the fridge, you know? But that's what we do. And I've misspelled Katie innumerable times. I've gotten my facts wrong. I've gotten things completely botched up and screwed around and turned upside down. But I'm here because I actually care about it. And I try really hard, and so do my colleagues. And no matter what you do, I just hope that you will help us fight back. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.